On my sweet 16, my 3 brothers came home with a girl named Sylvie. They said I have to treat her like my family. I didn't think much would change, but years later, everything did. Jace, my youngest brother, shoved me down the stairs for her. Asher, the oldest, who once promised he'd protect me forever, told me to get out. So I left, quietly. They thought I was just acting out, so they took Sylvie to France. Didn't even bothering to check in. What they didn't know was that I'd signed my name on a contract, one that aligned me with our family's biggest rival by becoming their youngest chemist, written in black and white. I could never go home again. The night they found out I was really gone for good, they broke every last one of them. One, Kaya's POV. I could feel my brother's hatred toward me, so I decided to disappear, go somewhere they'll never find me again. Have you made up your mind, Miss Renner? Once you sign the contract, you understand that your life, it all belongs to the Orman Group. Resigning later won't be an option. I'm aware, I said, calm and steady. There was a pause on the other end, then a thin smile in the man's voice. Then welcome aboard, Miss Renner. The Orman Group awaits. As soon as the line went dead, I booked a one-way ferry to Mexico. Departure exactly 1 week from now. 1 week. That would be enough to clean house, to tie off loose ends, and to cut the cord between me and my brothers for good. I hesitated for maybe a second, then dialed Asher's number. No answer. Not that I expected one. Next up, Noah, always the most distant of the three, but at least he was polite enough to pretend he didn't hate me. He picked up after 5 rings. What is it? Tomorrow's Christmas Eve, I said. I figured maybe today, if you're not busy, we could get together. I already knew they were busy. They'd be taking Sylvie to some expensive resort, same as they'd done every year since she showed up on my 16th birthday and turned our family upside down. Noah didn't speak for a long moment. I've got everything ready. All you have to do is show up. I even made Sylvie's favorite cream cake. The sneer in his voice was instant. You've got some nerve bringing her up after everything you put her through. She's still in the hospital, sprained ankle, fever, right? The pool Sylvie had fallen in, and because I'd been the one standing closest, all 3 of them assumed I'd pushed her, even after both Sylvie and I told them I hadn't. I ignored his accusation. Then I'll bring the cake to the hospital. No trouble. I'd never extended an olive branch like this before. Normally, I'd hang up the second someone mentioned what I'd put her through, but this time was different. I was leaving, and before I disappeared for good, I needed one proper goodbye, even if it was just for me. A faint voice came through the receiver. Sylvie, is that Kaya? I heard something about cake. She made you one, Noah said stiffly. Said it's the kind you like. Ow, that sounds nice. Kaya always makes the best cake, Sylvie said, sounding like a kid at Christmas. I can stop by if you want the cake, I said softly. Noah didn't say yes, but he didn't say no either. I took the silence as a green light and hung up. I hailed a cab, went straight to my apartment, and retrieved the cream cake I'd made this morning. I boxed it up neatly, tied it with a bold red ribbon. By the time I reached the hospital, it was just past 6. Sylvie's suite looked more like a luxury hotel than a medical room, complete with kitchen and dining nook, but only 4 chairs. I already knew which one wouldn't be for me. Sylvie lit up when she saw the cake. She even insisted on sticking a candle in the center and making a wish before blowing it out. Then she cut a slice, took one bite, and her entire face lit up like a sunrise. So sweet, so perfect. Sylvie beamed. I smiled but didn't say a word, just cut myself a sliver of cake, grabbed a fork, and drifted to the sofa. I'll eat over here. Jace threw me a look sharp enough to draw blood. Someone knows her place. Asher blinked, surprised for half a second, then went right back to fussing over Sylvie. I heard France is extra beautiful during Christmas, Sylvie chirped, slicing another bite of cake. What if we all went once I'm out of the hospital? Asher chuckled, brushing a hand through her hair. Anywhere you want. Sylvie turned to me with wide, hopeful eyes. Kaya, are you coming with us? My grip on the plate tightened. I was nervous enough that my hands trembled, the cake nearly tumbling to the floor. Probably not. I'll be leaving soon. I have to sample some new products. New products? Jace snorted. Even working through the holidays. Guess we should hand you a medal or something. I just thought, it's fine. Asher cut in, voice sharp. Might be better if Kaya stayed away a while. Wouldn't want Sylvie getting pushed into another pool. The air went cold. They didn't know. This little trip of mine was permanent or I'd be gone in a week, with no forwarding address and no intention of looking back. Well, if you're leaving, Asher said coolly, turning back toward his plate. Do you mind if Sylvie moves into your old room at the mansion? I looked at him. There was no affection in that stare, just a formality, like he was speaking to a stranger. Jace chimed in again, eyes glinting. She was always petty about sharing her room with Sylvie. It's fine, I said. She can have it. I'll clear my things out tomorrow. All 3 brothers looked at me then like I'd grown a second head, because I'd never agreed before, not once, and they'd resented me for it. If Sylvie couldn't have my room, their golden girl had to settle for the guest suite. Asher narrowed his eyes. Don't agree to things that you will change your mind about it later. Kaya, I'm not, I said quietly. I've just come to terms with a few things. It's better if Sylvie takes my room, that way you can all take care of her properly. Asher's lips curled into a frosty smile. Jace rolled his eyes. Noah stayed silent, staring down at his untouched fork. The rest of the evening slipped by in a blur. Sylvie announced she was tired. That was my cue. I picked up my purse, stood, and gave them one last look. For a second, just one, I felt the sadness I'd been holding down for years crack open inside me. Once I'd belonged here, I'd been cherished, loved, held. Now I was just a guest, one who'd overstayed her welcome. Bye, I said. None of them replied. Kaya's POV. Outside, the city streets were glittering with holiday cheer. Couples held hands, kids carried candy canes. Every passerby seemed to be heading home. That word didn't mean much to me anymore. I kept walking, no destination, just moving. Somehow my thoughts drifted back to that night when the call came about our parents' plane crash. Routine business trip gone. I'd cried myself to sleep on the living room floor. When I woke, all 3 of my brothers were curled around me like a fortress. Asher, brave and gentle, had held me tight and whispered, don't worry, Kaya, you still have us. You're never alone. I wondered if that version of Asher would even recognize himself now, the sister he'd once sworn to protect. He'd thrown her out like she never mattered. 1 week, that's all I had left, then I'd be gone. I hope my brothers can be happy about it. It was not like they wanted me to be her anymore. I was always the smart one, top of my class, genius level in chemistry and physics. While my classmates lined up for jobs at Fortune 500s, I didn't bother. I went home. The Renner family business didn't exactly make make Forbes lists. We dealt in drugs, the kind that didn't come with a prescription, and me? I was the youngest chemist in our entire operation. My job was simple: develop new products that could flood the market and rake in the cash. My brothers never saw the value. To them, being a chemist was a support role. The muscle, the deals, the money laundering, that's what really mattered. What good were formulas if no one was moving the product? They never understood that without me there'd be nothing to sell. But I had one foot out the door, and a week left to tie up loose ends. That meant finishing the final product tests in the lab. I buried myself in formulas, flasks, determined to leave with my work complete. By the time I peeled off my gloves and left the lab, it was well past midnight. Then I remembered I still hadn't cleared out my old room at the mansion. I hadn't lived there for years, but I'd never officially moved out either. My things were still tucked away in drawers and closets. I slipped into the house like a ghost, taking the back stairs up toward my room. "You look more like a thief than someone who used to live here," came Asher's voice, low and flat behind me. I turned. "Sorry," I said. "I'm just here to clear out my stuff." He folded his arms, staring hard. "You said the other day you were heading out to test new products. Where exactly are you going?" My eyes flicked behind him. Sylvie had crept out of the shadows, watching me with innocent curiosity. "Just the old lab in Cuba," I said smoothly. "Nothing major." "Good." He nodded once. "Do your job well." He turned to go. Sylvie hesitated. "Kaya," she whispered, her voice low enough that only I could hear. "How long will you be gone?" "A long time." I watched her face brighten like I'd handed her an early Christmas gift. Asher glanced back. "Sylvie, is Kaya bothering you again?" "No." She shook her head. "Too fast." Then she turned to me with wide eyes and a syrupy smile. "I just don't want Kaya to leave, and I can't stay in her room. Please don't move out." "Don't worry," I said quietly. "I won't ask for it back." Jay strolled up the staircase, arms crossed and smirking. "Wow, so dramatic. If you're really leaving, maybe just leave. Spare us the monologue." I didn't answer, just turned and walked into my room. The second I stepped inside my bedroom, the truth hit hard. My childhood sketches were still on the corkboard. A faded family photo sat on the desk. In the corner, my pink tulle princess dress from my 7th birthday, still preserved in plastic like it meant something. I swallowed hard and got to work. No time for tears. By the end, I'd packed 5 boxes, every trace of me gone. Even the little pencil marks carved into